Show land and welcome to another episode of the G Show podcast. I am G1 and this
the Corona block party.
The Corona block party. Coronabeam virus block party. Let's stop. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. I know it's terrible. It's terrible. There's a pandemic that people are passing away over this stuff.
Don't apologize. They're the ones stealing all our toilet paper.
They're stealing all the toilet paper! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Godzilla Block Party. I, of course, am your host, G1, along with my co-host, my brother from another mother, Megzy, a.k.a. G73, a.k.a. my brother Chase. How the hell are you doing?
Man, it's strange times, my friend. Strange times.
It is strange times.
I'm hanging in there. I'm hoping that... the Exilians are going to come pick me up and take me to Planet X because this is getting out of hand.
I'd rather be a slave to the Exilians than worry about not having TP for me bumhole. Oh, but listen, it is strange times, ladies and gentlemen. As of this recording,
Ragnarok has begun.
It has begun. As of this recording, we should be in the movie theaters with our soda popping popcorn, getting ready for Godzilla vs. Kong, because this was opening weekend. And yet, here we are, about to do a podcast talking about the coronavirus. Now, we're not scientific experts. We're not doctors. We're none of that. And, of course, we're not going to bore you with what's, the coronavirus is doing to people. What we will talk about, though, is would it have affected Godzilla vs. Kong the ways it's affecting, several other big budget movie franchises? On top of that, we got some more just Godzilla vs. Kong stuff in general. We're gonna go with the flow pretty much, because nobody here wants to get sick. We all want to make it to November, but the question is, will GVK make it till November? All right, so that's it. That's right off the bat. Right now, we should be watching Godzilla vs. Kong. Or in the theaters, getting ready to watch it. People on the East Coast, they're probably in the theaters right now watching the movie. We would be getting to the movie theaters right about now, or maybe in a half an hour, getting ready, getting psyched.
Avoiding all those spoilers.
Avoiding every single spoiler. That's perfect. That's dope, actually. Think about that. The amount of spoilers that would have been out already. It'd have been insane.
I don't want to imagine.
Yeah, we're not going
to. That last big spoiler that dropped, I don't want any more.
Right, we're good. We're good. Thank you. But what we do know, though, is that there was a screening. We talked about this last week. There was a screening, and for all intents and purposes, Godzilla vs. Kong, according to those moviegoers who got to see this special screening, this is the best MonsterVerse movie there is. Which I'm excited to see that, because to me it's G14, and to others it's probably King of the Monsters, to others it's probably Kong Skull Island. But this is that's exciting news, and I really wish we were in the theater right now. And instead of doing this podcast on Saturday, or maybe even tomorrow, the 13th, it's probably been Saturday, we would have been doing a review podcast, possibly live. But alas, this is how fate has fallen. Chase, where would you have been right now? Like, would you have been in the best theater in town, ready to rock and roll?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I would have gotten my mom and my whoever else wanted to come with me, and we would have either gone to the new theater that just got made downtown, or we've been at IMAX. Probably not IMAX because they don't have recliner chairs. I don't like going to theaters and they don't have recliner chairs. I'm spoiled now. I like having recliner seats. So
spoiled brat.
Yeah. I know I'm the worst, aren't I? There's a lot of great theaters around me. We have this really nice Century Theater. We have a really nice Regal Theater. We have a really nice Cinema West. And I love all three of those. Sometimes I tend to like Regal a little bit better. That's just, I grew up on Regal.
Yeah.
I wish we had an AMC theater. I wish we had one of those because those theaters are amazing.
When you come down to Vegas, I'm taking you to the AMC Dolby Theater, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'd be doing. I would be with you right now seeing Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I'd be at the best theater I could. Probably gotten a steak dinner beforehand. I usually do that, treat myself big for these big movie events for me, like getting a prime rib or something like that, and then going out with my belly full, and then get a giant chocolate bar and just get fat.
Dude, you really go all in.
Yeah. No, I would be doing whatever I could to make this the most fun experience possible. I loved it. That's why I've had fun with the MonsterVerse. 2014, I did the same because that was the first time Godzilla came back, and after my dad died and stuff like that. So I did all this stuff to celebrate. Godzilla versus, Kong Skull Island, same thing. I got my driver's license that day it came out. So that was cool. And then I celebrated with a steak dinner then, too. And that was amazing. That was a cool night. King of the Monsters, same thing. Celebrated with a nice steak dinner. Went and saw King of the Monsters. Had a great time. Godzilla versus Kong, probably going to do the same thing.
So this is now tradition, dude. You can't break that. You know that, right?
I can't. I know. For Shin Godzilla, I got McDonald's chicken nuggets and threw them at the theater screen. So. Yeah.
We threw it in there.
I mean, my McDonald's chicken nuggets looked like they belonged to Shin Godzilla, like they were parts of him. So I was like, "Here, take them back." But nah, I'm just kidding. We're here to talk about something better today.
Yeah, better if you think it's better. So first and foremost, it's been because of we cannot avoid the elephant in the room, which is the coronavirus, or as my brother Chase gleefully dubbed it as,
the Coronabeam virus.
It makes so much sense to use that in this particular podcast. Trademark Chase, unless somebody else said it before and he just took it and ripped it off, but I doubt that.
No.
This is all us, baby. You heard it here first on the Godzilla Block Party, man. Well, we're going to call it the Coronabeam virus from here on out. Just, to give some levity to this horrific situation. Because let's not make no mistakes about it. This is a terrible situation. We are, I'll just say that I was on a conference call with my job right before we went on. And it wasn't fun. There's a lot of things are getting canceled left and right. And then it's like, well, what comes next? Well, your job might be gone for the rest of the school year or until we figure this thing out. So, Coronabeam virus it is. Just because we're going to
all the schools up in my town are closing.
It sucks, bro. It's insane. So, just to bring levity to it, Coronabeam virus. So, this thing now is... Last week, we talked about how it... because of the Coronabeam virus, 007 got pushed back to...
November,
right, with Godzilla and Kong.
The 25th of November.
But now, not only has that happened, but a ton of conventions are going away.
South by Southwest, CinemaCon, and they canceled E3.
Now, before we talk about E3, South by Southwest, I believe that's a movie convention. But
it is a big film festival.
Okay, so you got that. But the CinemaCon, for a fact, Warner Brothers was up in there. Legendary was up in there with something. A taste, a tease. We were talking about this, on Messenger. And we were like, oh, this is going to be crazy. Like, setting up today's podcast. Oh, we're going to probably get a teaser. Like, that would have been the topic. We'll probably get a teaser now instead of waiting for Comic-Con. But... now we have
and that's the thing. Comic-Con hasn't said it yet, but they're saying Comic-Con's probably going to be canceled this year too.
I 100% believe that Comic-Con will be canceled. Listen, if E3 got canceled, and there's a lot of other factors for that. There wasn't a lot of people showing up to E3 anymore. Sony wasn't doing it. Nintendo done pulled out already. I mean, there's only Microsoft, Ubisoft. That's about probably it. Nobody cares. And I'd say I'm a Microsoft guy. I love my Xbox, but nobody cares. And I think shutting it down was for for the better. With companies like that, you can do a live stream on YouTube and everybody can stay home, comfort of their own home, in solitude without having to get sick or, getting coughed on by somebody. I think that's a good move. But like stuff like CinemaCon, that's not a convention where we would go to. Average people, E3 was open to the public. We go flood. The gamers flood. They find ways, even if it wasn't, to get in there. Whereas CinemaCon, it's not like that. You're not going to have a flock of Godzilla fans trying to bum rush the doors to see a glimpse of Godzilla vs. Kong. You just won't. So for that to close down is saying something about this Coronabeam virus. So yeah, I think Comic-Con is the next to shutter. Shutter its gates.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, so far, what the person that I got I was hearing a couple weeks ago from this person. I will not name them, but they were talking about how they were hearing themselves of these certain conventions being listed, and so far, 2 of the conventions he said he heard about, out of like the several he's heard of, 2 of them have already gotten canceled. So I'm pretty sure his information's credible. If 2 of them out of the 5 he heard, I mean,
it is crazy. I think
not a coincidence.
Not a coincidence. I mean, so Comic-Con, is like one of the biggest conventions, especially for the last several.
And it's people from all over the world go to the San Diego one.
Right.
Same with the New York one.
Exactly. And the New York one started, I think, in 2010, 11? I think it was 11. Whatever, or maybe 12. I forget. But you think about you think about like the Comic-Con International, right? Comic-Con International, whether San Diego or New York, those are huge. And for the past decade and a half, maybe 2 decades, I would say decade and a half, San Diego Comic-Con has been the #1 source for, all the geek movies and shit. So the X-Men, not X-Men, oh my God, but like superhero movies, fucking Harry Potter, like anything big franchises. So when 2014 was coming around, Godzilla 2014 was coming around, in 2013 they did the Godzilla experience, and it was fucking dope. Like, oh my God, these are where these places, showcase these movies.
That made me want to go to San Diego so bad.
So bad, brother. I'm right there with you. Then, we got the first trailer for Kong Skull Island at Comic-Con. The Godzilla King of the Monsters trailer. A year before that movie dropped, we got that trailer. We didn't get Godzilla vs. Kong last year. And it don't look like we're getting Godzilla vs. Kong this year, because it looks like it's going away. It looks like it's going away, and it's nuts, this panic. But again, I'm not gonna say don't worry. I won't. But to me, it's better safe than sorry. That being said, also though, throw it online. Still have something to go on YouTube. I'll use an example. I think tomorrow in Japan, there's this anime thing happening. There was supposed to be this anime convention or whatever. I forget the name of it. But there was supposed to be this thing for the 20th anniversary of Bleach. And the creator of the Bleach manga and I guess anime was going to be there. Nobody knew who it was going to be. But there was a lot of speculation. Oh, are we going to finally see the last arc of Bleach in anime form? Like, are we going to finally get a finale animated? Which I know would make my brother happy as hell, because he loves it and he's so mad the way it ended, even though he read the manga. Well, that convention got canceled, but last week or 2 weeks ago, I think it was last week, they came up, they announced that they were going to still hold that panel. The only thing was, they were going to do it in like a closed set. Like, they were going to do it in a studio. A controlled environment.
That's what everyone's doing right now. They're doing their shows without audiences.
That's it. A controlled environment, and they were going to stream it live. And that was amazing. I'm like, shit, they can do that for everything. They can do that for everything. Because think about it, ladies and gentlemen. We get that shit now. When D23, Disney's big convention thing, goes, they stream that online. They stream everything online for you to see. And then when it's trailer time, they'll black out for about 3-4 minutes, and then the trailer will pop up right away on YouTube. So that's what you do. That's what you do. And in all honesty, I think that's the future going forward. Coronabeam virus or not, whatever may come next or not, I think that's the way to go for the future. Because yes, it's fun to be there live and in person. And then if it's something like CinemaCon, where you have a bunch of movie pundits being there, they can ask questions to the filmmakers, and that's fun too. Absolutely, because that's where we get most of our information from, right? But if you can't do it like that, then do something online, throw it up on YouTube. You'll get 3 billion views, and then have a setup where there's Skype interviews with individuals like pundits. You know what I mean? Like the John Campiers of the world.
Think about it. They're taking almost if they're going to go start taking a step back, it's going to be how it was when trailers wouldn't drop online and we would have to go to the theater to see movies, to see trailers of movies.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we can't do that either now, Chase.
I know, because there's no movies coming out anymore this year.
Because there's no movies. That's exactly right.
Fast and the Furious 9 just got delayed too.
So you see that from last week, James Bond getting canceled. That movie comes out April 20th, or was supposed to come out April 20th, a month and change away from now. And they said, nope, we can't do it. Pushed it back to November, the week after Godzilla vs. Kong drops. Not even a week, the Wednesday after Godzilla vs. Kong drops. And we talked about it last week. That's going to eat into Godzilla vs. Kong's money. There was nothing in the way. This was going to be the monster mash. This was going to be redemption, in my personal opinion, my humble personal opinion. This was going to be redemption. But no, now James Bond is there. I'll make no mistake about it. James Bond and Godzilla, 2 of the longest running franchises in cinematic history. Period. Going head to head. That's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. But now, like Brother Chase said, Fast and Furious just got pushed back. Do you know when? Was there like a time or?
Nope, they didn't say.
So
they just said it got pushed back a year.
Oh, okay. So, and when was that coming out? Supposedly,
like May 13th or something. I'm not sure. May 9th. I'm not sure.
So now that slot's open because you got a Fast and Furious movie that's not going to be there, which is a good. I don't know if that movie would have made $1 billion anyway. I don't think The Rock's in it. But that's gone. But literally about 45 minutes to an hour before we got on this podcast, Disney put out a statement saying Mulan.
Hold on just 1 second. Fast 9 will now open April 2021 on the 2nd.
There you go. So,
and it was going to be in May 22nd. So
you got a whole year. You got a whole year. And then, like I said, 45 minutes before we got on, Disney announced that they were pushing back Mulan, which was slated to come out, I think, the end of this month. Yeah, the end of this month. They're also pushing back the New Mutants, which is kind of crazy. Well, not really, because that movie wasn't even supposed to come out. And they're pushing back this movie Antlers, which is a horror movie. I guess that was under Fox. That Disney was like, well, we own Fox, just push it out, which is crazy. So all 3 films have been delayed indefinitely due to this Coronabeam virus. This is crazy. So I'm going to ask you, Brother Chase, because I've been rambling now for about 10 minutes. Do you think if Godzilla vs. Kong was coming out this weekend, like right now, due to the Coronabeam virus and this whole craziness, you think it would have gotten delayed, pushed back indefinitely? Like, what's your thoughts?
Well, it's a 50-50 thing. On one hand, I think maybe because of the short notice, maybe it wouldn't have. Because at this point, you would have had tremendous, well, I don't know, because marketing would have been very small at this point. It wouldn't have been that big. So on one hand, I see that maybe it would have stood its ground. But on another hand, I see it definitely making a push because Warner Brothers is wanting to play it safe. And Warner Brothers right now has a big hand with China, like a big handshake with China right now. And as you know, a lot of the reasons why these movies are being pushed back due to the coronavirus is because of their premieres in China. No one's going to be there. So that's a big factor to take in. That's honestly the main reason why these movies are being pushed back. It's not because of the United States. It's because of their foreign releases, their foreign premieres. Because all of these countries have either isolated where no one can enter and leave, or they're quarantining their civilians in homes. So it's hard for me. It's hard to tell, but I honestly think that if GBK was coming out still right now, and the coronavirus was as it was, I honestly think it probably would have stayed in theaters.
You know, I gotta agree with you. I do.
I don't think Warner Brothers would have pushed it just because March 13th, from the time they announced it coming to March, was not a lot of time for marketing. So, I mean, I guess that's where my other hand is. There wasn't a lot of time for marketing, so it depends what their marketing strategy was. And that's the thing, too, is it depends what Godzilla vs. Kong's marketing is going to be all about when it comes forth, too, because, but who knows? Like I said last week, that's one of the good things right now about Godzilla vs. Kong's marketing not being existent yet, is because Warner Brothers can do whatever they want with Godzilla vs. Kong right now and not have to worry about what people think. Like I said last week, us as a fandom know that it's supposed to be coming out in November, but if you're not a hardcore fan like us, if you're just a casual moviegoer, general audience, you're not going to know or care. So they can do whatever they want, and they can fluctuate in. I'm honestly prepared for a 2021 release. There was talks of that James Bond might move out of November, but I don't know. I think right now, and here's the thing too. Right now, I think every big movie is going to be pushed because you don't know what it's going to be like come November.
Right.
It could be worse come November. So you don't know what's going to be like. It's hard to tell because we don't know what the future is going to hold. So I honestly think a 2021 release for Godzilla vs. Kong's going to happen. But as much as I don't want it to, because I just like 2020 as the date because it just sounds cool, 2021 I'm kind of expecting it. But that's going to be hard because you have all of these movies coming out in 2021. And you also have Jurassic World 3, and that movie's going to be nuts. So, but who knows? Jurassic World 3 might get delayed.
The production might be delayed.
We don't know. We just honestly don't know what the future's going to hold. It's a scary thing, man. But yeah, I definitely think Godzilla vs. Kong would probably still stay in theaters.
I agree with that 100%. I don't agree with the marketing thing. I think at this point in time, if it was still slated to come out today and tomorrow, that the marketing would have been ramped up at this point. And I don't mean on levels of, King of the Monsters, but there would have been enough to promote the movie at this point. And one of the things you touched on that I absolutely agree with is James Bond was the first movie to be pushed back due to this thing, and due to like premiering in China or whatever the case may have been. That movie comes out in a month and change. Godzilla vs. Kong comes out now, so there was no going back. This was it. Yeah. Because at this point in time, the marketing would have already been put into it to push it back. And don't get me wrong, we had a dope-ass trailer for that James Bond movie. We did. And we had a crazy-ass trailer for that Fast and Furious movie, if I'm not mistaken. It was like absolutely
all right.
fucking nuts. It made me want to go see a fast movie in the theaters for the first time since the first one, and I didn't even want to see the first one. I just went because my wife and her nephew wanted to see it, and I was like, at that time we was just boyfriend. I was like boyfriend and girlfriend. I was like, all right, if I take her and her nephew, this will get me good. Now we're married. That was a long time ago. Anyhow.
Well, it must have worked really well.
I guess so, right? Her nephew became a mechanic. No, stop. But anyhow, it's so I agree with you. I think Godzilla vs Kong would have still came. It would have been coming out today. Now, whether or not people would have went to theaters is the question.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That is the thing, and I think that's why everybody's pushing everything away. It's not about to me. I don't think it's so much more China, because I don't think they're going to do anything big for, like, New Mutants in China. You know what I mean? But Mulan? Absolutely.
And that's the one that's surprising.
Oh, yeah.
But that's when you know shit's real, when China cancels its own movie to come out at a delayed,
I mean, you think about it. Right now, you had the NBA cancel. You had hockey cancel games. I don't know how true it is, but I heard, no, I think it is true. Baseball canceled.
Yeah, yep, they canceled baseball.
So that's crazy. Broadway's shutting down. It's nuts.
Now watch, NFL gets canceled, everyone's going to riot.
Now, here's the thing. I live in Vegas. The NFL draft comes here on April, the weekend James Bond was supposed to come out. That's still up in the air. I'm not going to that anyway, but that's a big, big thing. Now, last year, my wife was in Memphis for a conference for a job, and it was at the same time as the NFL draft. So she was like, "Yo, it's absolutely nuts out here right now. There's people all over the place. It's a huge event, and now it's going to be here, and it's like, it's Vegas. They're going to shut that down too." So
this weekend they have UFC fights. And they're not having audience attendees. And the next big fight that comes out is Khabib versus Tony Ferguson, and they're talking about that not having an audience either. But imagine that these are stadiums filled for thousands and thousands of people, and they're playing sports by themselves, or they're fighting just in the quiet.
That's what I think happened. I think baseball are just shutting down. Like, there's not going to be any people attending the games. I think the games are still going to happen because it's not a close contact sport. You know what I mean? And that's the crazy thing. It's just nuts. So you figure that's sports, like you just said, thousands upon thousands of seats and people there cheering on your favorite team or whatever the case may be. We're talking movie theaters, a couple of hundred seats in a theater, close quarters, people coughing. No!
Up here in Yuba, where I live, part of Yuba, California, they're talking about that they may shut down the theaters because no one's going to see them. They're going to lose money. There's no point, they're saying. So,
yeah.
It's a very upsetting thing. But there's a part of me that's curious to see what movies are going to come out and say, no, fuck you, coronavirus, we're still going to show our movie.
Coronabeam virus, get it right.
Yeah, the Coronabeam virus. I'm like, a part of me last night, I was sitting here, I was thinking, this is actually a really good thing for Godzilla vs. Kong, because now if there's no movies coming out, they can put their movie wherever they want, and no one's gonna fuck with it, and people will go see it because they're bored on a summer day and have nothing to do, or we're all quarantined in our homes and we're dying.
Well, remember, I think it was sometime last year. I think it was early last year. I forgot when I did. Remember when I think it was longer than last year. Right, we're talking 2016 here. When Shin Godzilla was coming around. And I said, what I feel should happen, to me, which is logical, is if you don't put these movies out in theaters. No, let me phrase that. It's not about the theaters because it's about location, right? Not every place gets a theatrical release. especially something like Shin Godzilla. This is the perfect example. Shin Godzilla was not gigantic release. It was a limited release, certain theaters in certain markets. If you weren't living in a certain market, you were not seeing that movie until it came out either in unconventional ways or on Blu-ray DVD, right? And I said what Toho should do to make some money, and they actually did do this because Netflix, what they should do is they should VOD that shit, stream it on a platform like Amazon Prime, iTunes, whatever the case may be, Google Movies, wherever, YouTube, wherever you can make some monetary gains, stream it, because you got the fans that will go, yep, I'm putting down for it. Because think about it, that movie Shin Godzilla, it wasn't for the general population, it was for the fans. That's why it was a limited release. That's why it was only released in certain theaters. And maybe the art house crowd. Art house crowds go to see anything like that because that's what they're into. And I like that, you know. Oh, it's a limited release. Let's go see it. Didn't matter if it was Godzilla or The Wizard of Oz. They was going to see it. You know what I mean? So that's what I think right now. This is the world we're living in. We got to worry about Coronabeam virus. Dude, just VOD stream your movies. Charge ticket prices. The problem with that, though, is, and I get it, the problem with that, though, is if you're going to the movies, like you said, as a family, in a group, more than one person, that's the money generating. I got you and your ticket. I got you and your ticket. You, and you and your ticket. But if you're going to put it on VOD, then you can have a fucking watch party. Hey, yo.
You can have like 30 people.
Yeah. Hey, yo, I'm putting on Godzilla vs. Kong. I got it. Don't worry. It only costs $10. I'll pay for that. Y'all bring the beer and the chips and the food. And you sit there for an hour and 25 minutes and you go crazy. And there's, like you said, 30 people in your house. They don't make that money. They don't recoup that money. So that's the con to it. Because I think it's a great idea. But if you're a big studio putting out hundreds of millions of dollars and you're only going to get back like 10, it's
So here's the thing. I think it's a great idea if the MonsterVerse was successful enough to make money. Right now, the MonsterVerse, we all know how that's going. I honestly think that if they announce Godzilla vs. Kong is coming to streaming service, VOD or whatever, not a lot of people are going to rush to go see it. No, not going to buy it. But the thing is, what's interesting is I feel like if you advertise it for the theaters, that's going to get more people's attention.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm just saying in light of this Coronabeam virus situation.
Right. It's like, what do you do? In that case, it's hard because even then, you know.
And I'm not just saying Godzilla vs. Kong. Let's take James Bond, for example, or Mulan. You got Disney Plus. What if Disney Plus put out a premium thing all of a sudden and said, well, Mulan's not going to come to theaters at the end of March, but for an extra $5, we'll give you Mulan. Or you can buy it here, only on Disney Plus. But you need a subscription, and then you have to buy it. Dude, people who are into it, if it was a Star Wars movie, dude, I'll be honest with you. I already have Disney Plus. I'm like, fuck, I'll shell out the $15. I'll shell it out. Or you get slick with it, and you charge $20. You charge $20. Because at the outset, you figure it's probably always going to be at least 2 people per movie. If you have children, that's a different thing, but whatever the case may be. But at the very least, 2 people per... Charge $20, and then you just
the average you'd think is 2.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then you just fit everybody into your house with 30 people. But again, it could go for whether it's GBK, Mulan, James Bond. Yeah, but I totally agree with you with the MonsterVerse, and we know where that's at financially. I totally get that.
And so here's the thing. I actually think that Warner Brothers may... this is going to sound kind of funny, but I think Warner Brothers is relieved right now with the coronavirus.
Oh, you think so?
For why I say that is because this is going to buy them more time.
Well, how?
Even if they say, "Oh yeah, we're delaying our movie because of the coronavirus," and that's not true, who's going to question them?
I am, because that movie don't come out now till November, way before this coronavirus thing happened. Coronabeam virus happened. They already pushed it back.
But honestly, they could cash in on it, give them more time. I think it's a smart idea. Like I said, I think the movie is going to be coming out in 2021. I don't think it's going to have a 2020 release date. The marketing hasn't started yet until that happens. And that's the thing. All these things being delayed, Godzilla vs. Kong probably won't have a choice. Because what are they going to do? They're not. They can't advertise their movies.
No,
there's no conventions to go to. There's nothing that they can do to advertise it.
Shit, there's no sports games to put them on with.
No, there's.
Wow, this is scary. You just brought a reality I didn't want to think of. Good God Almighty, man!
It's a mess. It's like, what are we gonna do? So what happens is Toho comes out with a streaming service called Toho's Monsters or something like that, or no, called Toho Flicks, and they put GBK on it. But then again, it's just us Godzilla fans, So that's a streaming service. Honestly, as much as I think the idea is cool, I just don't know if it would guarantee success.
Well, let me tell you something. Okay, go ahead.
I think that's what Warner Brothers wants to do, is guarantee them success.
Okay, so I'm gonna argue that point. Well, I think that's a great point, by the way, because I didn't think of that. But as soon as you said it, I'm like, you're right. If you're not actively looking for something, then you'll get that stuff on like sports and TV. But again, TV's still going on. You're still gonna have your sitcoms and your TV dramas. That's always gonna be there, and that's whether we watch those things or not. It's gonna hit the public. You know what I mean? It'll hit the general general eye. But YouTube, dude, you go on YouTube, you put on like whatever, like one of your favorite YouTubers, whatever it may be, gaming.
Well, see, right now, but that's a bad time right now, because with the presidential elections, all you're getting right now is going to be presidential election ads.
Well, no, yes, but even still, that might get canceled 4 more years. I'm just saying. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
It's been Trump's plan all along.
Oh, he's unleashed the virus on everyone. No, but let's stop. It's not a political show.
You're all fired.
Whether you're left or right, I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. We're here for Godzilla and the giant monster community. And, of course, the Geek Outs, which we're doing. But you might be on something. Anyhow, he's an exilian. He plotted this whole thing. Let me stop. I got nothing against Trump. I got nothing against anybody. I don't care. But I mean, YouTube. Think about it. Yes, there's going to be a lot of political ads on TV right now. It makes sense. Because it is what it is. But YouTube, a lot of people, and you have those trailers. And I don't know if you've been watching YouTube for the past month and a half, 2 months. Now they're doubling up ads. Yeah. They're doubling up ads. I'm like, what is this? What? I got 2 ads to sit through? This is not what I signed up for. But thank God you could skip. But still, I'm like, what the hell is this? But I've seen a lot of trailers for movies on there. Like when The Invisible Man was coming out, got a lot of that. The first time I saw the James Bond trailer was actually while trying to watch one of my YouTube shows. So I was like, oh, there it is. That's how you do it. You do it through that. You do it through TV, because seriously, everybody's going to be glued to their TV sets if there's like quarantines in place or whatever the case may be.
Right,
I'm not saying that's the case.
And that's another thing though, is if it gets so bad, no one's leaving their homes. It's possible putting Godzilla on like your demand thing, like Comcast or whatever. It has a successful run,
right?
But how will we know? It's a tough gamble.
I agree. It's so crazy. And that's my argument towards keeping it where it's at right now. November 2020 still is a beautiful spot. Everything we see right now is jumping. They literally, like, whatever's getting canned right now, you see indefinite with the Disney stuff like Mulan and New Mutants and Antlers. So we don't know exactly when. We know James Bond, it got pushed back till November, Thanksgiving week. But now, like you said, there's rumblings that might get pushed back even further. That's great news for Godzilla. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Don't move. Because here's the thing, and like I said a little earlier, I was on a conference call, and there's a lot of things happening, a lot of things getting canceled, but that's in the immediate now. You know, that's in the immediate future. Godzilla vs. Kong is not in the immediate future. In the immediate future, I mean like the next 2-3 months. That's where we're at right now. So who's to say that come July or August, this is actually gone, and we don't have to worry about nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So then things could just roll and go as they were supposed to, and we do get GBK come November. And if at that point, you know, James Bond decided to leave, woo, then we're back in business, baby.
The one thing is that they're saying that even though they're saying James Bond got delayed because of the coronavirus, there's actually a lot of talk that that's not the case. It got delayed because it got really bad test screenings.
Really? Wow, that trailer was so fantastic.
They said they had 7 test screenings, and out of 5 of them, were just really bad for their records. And so they said, we got to delay it. So they just used the coronavirus as an excuse.
You know,
I don't know for sure that's the truth, because a movie coming out in April, why would you be doing test screenings that late?
Unless those test screenings happened, let's say in December, January, and they didn't start putting that out. Maybe there's an embargo or something, and they didn't start putting word out about that until, you know, most recently. And they used the corona. But think about it too, because that Coronabeam virus was out in December. That was starting to circulate, maybe even November. Because I know we were making jokes about it in January during my daughter's birthday.
That was the first time I really heard about it.
Yeah, so think about it. It could have been in and around that time and say, hey, we can use this as our scapegoat. But, you know, it's funny you bring that up, because I was thinking the same thing about those Disney movies. Like, New Mutants wasn't even supposed to come out. And then all of a sudden, it's like, we're putting it out. We're doing it anyway. It's coming out.
New Mutants has been like, what? They've been delayed several times.
It was supposed to come out last April.
Yeah.
That movie was supposed to come out last April. And now that it was coming out this April, now it got pushed back again. Which, I'm like, was it really done? I don't know. Maybe it is. But see, the New Mutants, to me, would be a perfect vehicle on Disney+. Perfect.
Right.
Because nobody, honestly, nobody really cares. I'm not going to say no. Not everybody cares. Let me put that there. Not everybody. Not nobody. Not everybody cares. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody cares means, like, what the hell is that?
I mean, I'm interested in New Mutants, but only because it has Charlie Heaton from Stranger Things in it.
Okay, yeah, I care less. But, you know, but that's just me. And I'm a comic book guy, and I like the New Mutants, back in the days. I like those comics. But anyhow, I digress.
Why didn't The Invisible Man get delayed?
Because it was already out. Because that's where it was. And again, it's the same thing with, like, GBK. James Bond had a month.
Yeah, so
more than a month.
I think you're right. That just kind of staples the fact that it probably would have stayed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, what comes out this week? We have, oh God, think about it. Here's a great example.
That Ben Affleck movie, The Way Back or some shit.
Next week. This is a great example. A Quiet Place 2 has not been pushed back yet. Why? Because they already put out all the marketing for it. It comes out next weekend.
Yeah.
That's not going nowhere. And the first one's a great movie.
For it are really great.
And the reviews are really great. So the only way that
talking about doing a third. So
there you go. So now, like,
I love the first one. I want to see the second one really bad.
Right, and that's the thing now, and that's it. But are we going to go to the theaters? Are the theaters going to be open? Will we scared of this Wuhan?
Yeah.
You know,
I know personally, I've educated myself enough on this Coronabeam virus where I'm confident that, yeah, it's a possibility I could get it, but I'm healthy enough that I'm wouldn't be hurt if something happened, but also I'm not worried about it personally. I'm the person, like, I could be hitting a tornado storm right now and die, and I wouldn't care, so that's just how I am. I know you would. I know. I don't actually mean that. I would be sad for everybody, but what I'm saying is I would have gone to the movie regardless of the coronavirus or not.
Well, let's be for real here. If a lot of people, the way the toilet paper is going off the shelves, are that serious, ain't nobody going to be in the movie theaters. So you can have all the popcorn, all the soda.
I'll be going to the movie theaters and stealing toilet paper.
That's not bad. I work at a school. I'm just like, no, let me stop. But
your job already is on the line, pal.
I know, bro. Listen, man. I got, they say don't wear, masks. It doesn't work. None of that stuff. I've got gloves, man. Me and the custodians are buddies and pals, brother. I've got gloves. So, but anyhow, I don't want to even get into that. All I'll say is, this is new. We haven't been in a situation like this where we have to have these types of conversations and literally spend an entire podcast talking about the what ifs.
It seems like something out of a science fiction movie.
It really does.
It doesn't seem like what's going on is real.
It's like Shin Godzilla literally started throwing up again.
Yeah, he puked all over the planet.
Uh-huh.
And he's spawning those little retarded-looking monsters.
This was Anno's plan all along. He knew this was happening. This is it. The Coronabeam virus. That's why they named it Corona. So we can say Coronabeam, because Coronabeam is a staple of Godzilla. And oh my God, I'm going crazy. Anyhow, it's... No worries, no panics. I think as of right now, GBK is perfect where it's at. It's in a great spot for now.
Yeah. Before what I was just going to say, I think at the end of the day, though, regardless of coronavirus or not,
Coronabeam, get it right. You
fine. I keep forgetting Coronabeam virus. I think Warner Brothers was going to move their film out of November anyways. I just think it's a matter of time when they announce it. But who knows? I just think that they know they won't stand a chance with James Bond. But the thing is it's hard to, because if James Bond decides to leave, then Godzilla vs. Kong left for no reason. And they're talking about that James Bond might leave November, but I don't know when they might announce that. So
I'm not worried about that right now. I am, like I said, a little ticked off that James Bond decided to. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, but it hurts me as a fan.
It's disappointing. It's a cheap shot.
It's a cheap. Yeah, I don't know. Is it really a cheap shot? I mean, they just trying to make money and say, "Oh, you see those last couple of monster movies?
No,
they didn't make money."
If they paid attention to King of the Monsters, well, that's the thing that's kind of frustrating. Even though King of the Monsters didn't make the box office that it should have, it still made a decent amount of cash.
Yeah.
But whether it was enough money to be... It didn't... Let's put it this way. It didn't make the money to be deemed a failure. Now, because 300 billion, or almost 400 million, that's not terrible. But you want to make about 3 times your budget. So... it's hard, because part of me wants to be like, yeah, they looked at King of the Monsters and saw how it did, and they're like, yeah, we'll just go there. But the thing is that Godzilla vs. Kong is the type of movie it's going to be successful by a surprise, because you have Kong and Godzilla. Even if you aren't like a Godzilla fan, but you're a King Kong fan and you like that, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like it's going to interest you just because it just sounds nuts. So
I see the marketing now.
I don't know.
I see the marketing now. Coronavirus got you down. Come see the biggest icons on the screen ever! We're Godzilla.
They're immune to the Coronabeam virus.
That's right, we're going in all the way. Ladies and gentlemen, I swear to God.
It's like the American announcer for the Godzilla 2000 trailer.
Yeah!
Yeah. Godzilla.
Let's get ready to crumble! Oh my God, I'll never forget that marketing.
It's like fucking Super Beast by Rob Zombie.
Oh my God.
I can hear it now. Oh my God.
Oh my God, I think this is the perfect way to end the podcast. Oh my God.
Hey, yeah, I'm the one that you wanted. Hey, yeah, I'm the Super Beast. Yeah, that'd be great.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening to this podcast, you know that Godzilla lives in our hearts, all of ours. That's why you're here, and I want to thank you all for being here. Do not let the Coronabeam virus get you down. It's a real thing, as the coronavirus is. Coronabeam virus, though, is just more fun to say. It's a real thing. Take precaution, people, please. Especially if you have elderly people in your family that might be susceptible to it. I don't know why I'm preaching this. Y'all should all just wash your hands.
Wipe your butts.
And then wash your hands.
Don't wipe your butts because we're out of toilet paper.
Ladies and gentlemen, the shit is next to the shower. If you ain't got toilet paper, you got soap. You got soap. So anyhow, I mean, like, whoa, derailment. Talk about derailment. This is like Godzilla picking up a train in 1985. It's crazy. Or in 54.
62.
Or in 62. Or fucking in Shin when the trains just ran into him. Anyhow.
He like magnetized.
It seriously did, right? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please stay safe. Don't worry. Don't panic. We will be here next week, hopefully. But this is the Godzilla Block Party. Hey, Brother Chase, I want to thank you for being here.
Oh, absolutely. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. And it's a pleasure, everybody out there listening in. I am G1, and we are out of here.
And be excited for GBK 2021.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Peace!